Good afternoon, everybody. This is Dee Reinhardt with Illinois WorkNet, and on the line with me today, I have Olivia Grisham Miller.
Hi, everybody.
And we have a little bit bigger agenda today, so we'll want to get this rolling. Please check in by agency if you have not already, because I am going to be covering it up momentarily. And there's Tammy, so I'm going to unmute her. Say hi, Tammy.
Hello, everybody. I've got a little bit of a cold, so my voice may be in and out.
All right. Okay, let's start out with the dashboard information. And I'm going to cover up everything here, so we'll get a chance to check in another few minutes. We'll make this a little bit smaller so you guys can read it. And then we'll be sending this out in the minutes. We only have one 2151 past due, and I'm not sure if that's an oversight or if it's somebody that just came in and, you know, the flu's been really bad, so it could have been that they came in and the person that needed to upload it got sick. We've got one enrollment required by Phalanx. And look at that column with the 2151A past due. I want everybody to give yourselves a big round of applause, and your office mates will probably be thinking, what is this crazy person doing? But there are no 2151A past due. Woo-hoo-hoo! All right, so we've got some minimal progress and some no progress people in the list there. I need you guys to work on getting some conciliation appointments scheduled and then move them to conciliation status. We have some completion status items. Several of you have 3 in there if you're noticing my list here. One of those things is because maybe somebody has been marked as ineligible, or they are working or something. You need to do some completion information in the system and then upload some 2151As marking people as complete. We have a big number in the SNAP ineligible, and if you notice, Caps Rosen, you've got 21 people. Now, I did talk to Deidre Wesley right before the webinar today. She indicated that they are now lifetime updating. They're lifetime updating these customers because IES, they now have access to IES, which is the DHS database system, and they can check when somebody went ineligible and update them right away. The other thing that they're doing is they're going to be adding, because they now have access to do this, they are going to be adding the reason why the customer is ineligible. If they did not redetermine, you have to stop. If they're ineligible for anything but over income due to employment that you helped them find, you need to stop serving them. If they are over income and ineligible because of a job that you helped them gain, during that 90-day retention period, you can continue to provide supportive services to them. Does everybody get that? If they're over income and it's a job, then you can exit them. You should have exited them as complete hired 30 hours a week. 30 hours a week or more if they are, and they should already be marked as completed in the completion information. Now, if this is something, and Kay, I'm not quite sure who you are, but if this is something where they're exiting them and you didn't know what the job was, we need to try to work with you to try and find out who that information is. And Kelsey, we've been talking about this. And Tammy, are we anywhere closer to getting a list to IDES? Because we are done with the first quarter now.
No.
Sorry, we're done with
For
the
verification, no. We're trying to see if we can get some information straight from IDES on the wage data that we can upload. We've been wanting to do this for a while, even if it's at the super user level, because there's a lot of issues with, PII right now. So no, we're not closer, but we will. We will get closer, and if nothing else, we'll do it at the state level here, and then we can, at least we have that information. We can let you know.
Okay. All right. Yes. It's best if we can get some employment verification, but I know that you guys have problems getting that out of the DHS staff. So we'll keep trying to work on it from our side as well. Now, the packets started ready and done. I was a little concerned about some of the numbers that I saw here. And just to let you know, I did Rock River Training's 2151As and their staffing packets this month for them. So I got all 41 done. Now, they only had to meet with one DHS office, so that made it easy. But what I did when I was done was I scanned in the entire set of documents to a PDF file, and then I printed each page as the customer file, and then I uploaded them all. I don't know if you guys have that capability in your offices, but that was my way of making that process a little bit speedier and to get everything uploaded. If you need more suggestion about how to do that, I'm happy to try and talk you through that. If you are using Adobe Reader, I think you can still do that the same way. The 4334 needs to be completed into the staffing report. Signed 4334 needs to be uploaded into the staffing report tool. So I'm not quite sure what form you're thinking of. Oh, no, I don't know that I would have ever said that, because that's part of our whole process. All right. Well, my mistake then, because that does need to be uploaded. I apologize for that, but that's been the process all the way along. The signed 4334 for each customer that you get back from DHS staffing appointment needs to be uploaded, just the first page. Then you need to upload your signed copy and say that DHS did not sign them. Let me think about that one, Kelsey. No, I don't expect it to happen retroactively. Yes. And Autumn is uploading hers. Oh wait, is Autumn with you or is Autumn with Mantricon? Okay. Yes, the 4334 from each page and needs to be uploaded after the staffing, just so that we know that you're getting the staffings done. Okay, I'm going to move on. If we need to discuss this more, call me. Autumn, you're doing it. Because I've got you listed in here and your 9 are done. So you're good. All right, I'm going to pull these numbers down. They will be included in the minutes. And we're going to move on to the next item on the agenda, which I'm going to turn over to Olivia to talk about. Check in real quick while we're moving up the documents, if you haven't already.
All righty, everybody. So with the end of EPIC quickly approaching here in the next couple months, we're going to start closing out some of the EPIC training programs that are over 12. Well, we're going to close out all of the EPIC training programs that are over 12 weeks in length. And then every Friday, Cody and I will make sure the system is updated to close out training programs depending on the length of time. So by the end of this week, we'll have all the training programs closed out that are over 12 weeks in length. And then on February 23rd, we'll close out all of the 12-week programs, and we'll continue to do that every Friday to close out the training programs as they come up.
Carmen's asking a question for those customers who complete training at the end of the program. Will there be, what we're doing is somebody is enrolled in a training program right now and will not be done until, say, maybe May 1st. We'll give you until they're done with job search and doing their resume and all that kind of stuff to get them cleaned up.
And you guys can see here in this spreadsheet, like the one-week training programs that we have, we're closing them out May 11th. So all training programs, we're giving a month at the end of that training program to work with them for finding employment and getting them employed and all their completion information in. So we did make sure that we included some time in there.
I think it's actually 6 weeks, Kelsey.
Yeah, because 1 month from May 11th is June 11th. So, I mean, you're getting a little bit longer than a month.
And what we mean by closeout is we're going to gray out the programs so that customers cannot be enrolled in training programs that would take longer than May 11th to finish. So Carmen has already indicated that your program, you're already not accepting customers to training. So do we have a mistake on our list for your program?
This was your retail career program. It's already closed. I'll update our Excel sheet to show that.
So the programs will continue, but you just won't get any new enrollees if your program is older or it takes longer than 12 weeks to complete. And then effective February 23rd, 12 weeks will be closed out. Re-engaged customers will be allowed to return as long as they can pick up where they left off.
So the last week, we're closing the last program, which is 1 week long, on May 11th. So they would finish that training program on May 18th. So they would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 6 weeks to find employment open for the training programs.
And the training, if you're still actively working with a customer, we're not going to shut you down. And Tammy, you might want to talk to this for us. The customers, you can still help the customers find a job. It's just we don't want to enroll somebody in a training program and then have them not be able to even think about finding a job because they get done training on June 30th.
Yeah, and I can address this. We have all of the grants currently ending June 30th, and this is going to be on a case-by-case basis. We can take a look at where you're at with your customers because we don't want to leave customers hanging. The thing that we want to make sure, though, is that our performance based upon expenditures isn't getting totally out of line either. So this would be looked at on a case-by-case basis as to if we need some additional time, for specific training programs. So yeah, I totally get it. The reason that we're doing this was we want to make sure that we're closing long-term, the programs that are just not attainable, we're closing those down. The ones that could potentially be attainable, we want to leave open. And then you may be getting people who are re-engaged, and if you get people that are re-engaged, you can just do employment services only for them also. So if you get somebody like it's National Label that comes to you that they want to stay with you, you can do employment services only for them. If you don't have a training program, that's going to fit into the time frame here.
We will be talking about this with DHS as well. So they will begin seeing programs not able to be enrolled, customers referred to, and we will be sending out communication about this. We just have to formulate everything. We just got this approved on Monday. So we're still in process, but we wanted you guys to be aware that there will be certain programs that we will not be engaging customers in any longer.
Your big push right now is to finish training for those customers that are in. If you have some customers that are going to be in a longer-term training, that's something we can discuss. I know that we have several providers that have longer-term training, but they're also co-enrolled in WIOA. So their services will be able to be continued because they're going to be in the WIOA program. So it's going to be a case-by-case basis, but the big focus is finishing training, getting them employed, and then working towards retention. So we've got from here to the end of June, that's our main focus, and then start to close out the program. We are getting re-engaged customers, but once again, and DHS management knows that they have to be short-term training. Sorry, I had to cough. Short-term training, and the big focus is going to be on employment. And I agree. We've had the conversations about re-engaged customers in May. It doesn't make much sense because it's not going to save you. You're not going to provide much time. And that's conversations we are definitely having with DHS as far as what the drop-dead date is for referring any more customers to re-engagement.
Okay, I see Kelsey and Carmen both typing. if yes, we're going to include this list in minutes. Yes.
And we're looking at a process of referring, to, I know Olivia's been working with Deidre on making more of a streamlined process to move customers if we need to move one from, say, National Able to another organization. So we're not wasting time either, so we can get them in and going. So our mission is to, if you get a customer and there's a better fit for them, to try and get them to that other organization as quickly as possible.
Okay, moving on. In the file pod, below the chat pod, is a contact list for DHS. I know there's been a ton of changes recently, and Olivia and I are trying to keep up with them when we hear about them and find out and all that kind of good stuff. But if you could please open that list up and take a look, and then email both of us so that we can make sure that we're getting the list updated, because this is also how DHS communicates with you, is through this list. And so if we have the most recent list on the restricted resources page, then everybody knows. We update the DHS contact list sometimes 3 times a week. Deidre tries to get the information on their Monday call, but sometimes changes happen after that, and I've made changes as many as 3 times in a week. And we always have the most current list that Deidre sends us uploaded on the restricted resources page. So please check this list so that we make sure that we have your agency's most recent contacts. Okay, Next thing on the agenda is exiting customers and completion dates. I'm going to pull my screen up. I am in test. And I have pulled up a list of customers who have a 2151A past due. And I did this on purpose. If you're looking at your list and all of a sudden you have a customer in your list that you thought was done, you have to go back in and take a look to make sure that all of the information makes sense. For example, I did something here to one test. I went into their case file and I marked them here on the completion information, and I want somebody to notice and type in the chat pod what's wrong. And you don't win anything except my admiration. So looking at this screen, what's wrong that makes this customer show up in the 2151A past due? Yes, that's one thing, but there is something glaringly wrong. The employment date is before the completion date. That's it. Krishina wins. I don't know what, but she wins. And on this completion section, on the completion information, this date right here needs to be the same date that the customer is employed. So if I change this date here to 6/12/2017 and update, and then if I go back to my enrolled dashboard and pick my, well, I'm just going to pick the list. Oh, wait, I was Catholic Charities. And now if I look at my 2151's past due, I've got 6 in there, but my one test went away. So that is how you double check to see if you're getting people in the right place at the right time. The completion date is the day they become employed, not the day they finish their 90 days. And I found that a couple of times when I've been out in offices making visits. So it's not just one of you that is getting a little confused on that. Okay. Any other questions about the system at all? Okay, we'll move on to the next item, which is, Tammy, it's budget modifications.
Okay, we did successfully complete the modifications to extend all the grants and edited the performance benchmarks. So the next move is the budgets, and you'll be receiving budget templates from me along with what your GRS has right now. And it may not be the people on the phone that need to be looking at this, more so your fiscal office, in determining what the specific needs are between now and the end of June, taking into consideration also where we're at with our performance matrices. And then we'll be working with you on an individual basis, too, to see this program has been a wee bit of a heavy lift for the admin side and also for the career navigation side. So we can take a look at those costs and see about aligning those. There is a modification we have or submitted to FNS that's aligning the budget side of it to more reflect the WIOA side as far as what's allowable for career navigation and admin. So that is in the system. We are still going to go ahead and move with modifications, though. And then one of the things we'll take a look at is your average cost. And based upon, now that we've experienced what we've experienced with EPIC, is our average cost realistic, what was originally planned at the beginning of the budget years. So we're going to be talking about those and negotiating those. So, starting this month, I hope to have them, all complete, by no later than the first part of March. So we'll be working with probably about 5 to 10 a week to try and get these accomplished. So, and once again, if you receive this and you're not the person that needs to have this, please forward it to your fiscal offices so that they can, let me know where they feel like they are. And then you also need to work with them, in conjunction, too, because this is performance-driven, too. So we need to work as a team to make sure that we're, completing this accurately.
Are you good?
Any questions on that?
Tammy, can you say again what some of the line items were that were going to increase? It kind of cut out on my end.
Well, with the line items that we're looking at with the FNS is changing career navigation to make it a 40% for the budget line item. And then we're looking at making admin 10%, but that is, we're waiting for approval from them on the budget side. But we're still going to go ahead and start moving to get, our ducks in a row with this. And then that will reduce our, training and support services. And then this will also align with the WIOA training policy. So one of the things we wanted to do was align this with, the WIOA policies as we move forward, too, because as there's more integration and services down the road, it just makes sense so that we're talking the same language.
Carmen's asking, would that mean essentially that we would be able to claim more costs associated with admin and career navigation?
Yeah.
So everybody should
Yes.
be saying yay right now.
That is what it means. Yeah, and like I said, we're still going to move forward this month with that.
All right.
So when you're getting this, just keep in mind, 40% and 10% when we're looking at these budgets and changing them.
All right. Thank you, Cheryl. Thank you, Carmen. Thank you, Kelsey. All right. The next piece on the agenda is a case note webinar that I actually hosted this morning for the apprenticeship program. And we will be getting the recording up, and the documents are in the file pod below the chat pod. So if you want to pick up the case note rubric and the IWN Case Notes 21418, that's the PowerPoint presentation. Those are both PDF documents. You are welcome. As soon as we get it posted, we will have the recording of the webinar today up on the resources page where we store a lot of other things. We'll try to add a link into resources on the EPIC resource page as well. But this was I did a lot of research for this webinar, and we came up with some really good items in the rubric to help you build great case notes. And some of you do write excellent case notes, and some of you, we have had a discussion before about how you either aren't writing case notes or could be writing them better. So my suggestion to you is if I've had that conversation with you in the past, you may want to look at these resources. Olivia, I have my screen ready to go for the staffing report update. So do you want to talk through it and I'll drive?
Sure. One second, all right. So we got some updates pushed out to the staffing report. So one of the things you guys had informed us about a while back was that the checkboxes for still needing a packet done was becoming unchecked every month. So with the new updates, if you have a customer unchecked, every month they will remain unchecked, and if for any reason they're re-engaged and come back to you and need to start staffing again, you can go ahead and recheck that box and continue going on with the staffings with those customers.
All right, so the other piece is on the status. You can filter by status to see how many customers you have in each status. So if you want to go through and find the people who are print 2151 only and uncheck their little box, then that way you know that you don't have to do their packet moving forward. And this will hold now, which is an excellent thing that we needed.
And then we also have, when you're going in and putting your customer staffing packet together, you can now include any documents that you have uploaded to the iStep, so like copies of credentials and anything like that that you would like to include in that staffing packet, so you don't have to go into the tool and find it and pull it in separately.
So that's great. All right. Okay, what else do we have for an update that we need to show? Oh, that will be happening on the customer profile. Let's just tell them what will be happening. And we hope to have this done, what, midweek maybe this week?
Yeah.
There will be a new option coming up for updating customer eligibility. They will be moving to SNAP eligible, but moving to traditional SNAP E&T, which means that they're basically going to what we call JPP. And those customers will need to be closed out. And when you're closing them out, you would select the option did not complete and dropped out of program.
And just so everybody knows, that's actually now available on production. Cody got it pushed out. Yeah, I see it.
All right. So why am I not seeing it in test? Maybe I haven't refreshed it yet. All right. Well, that's great.
And this is going to be significant as we're moving close to the end of the program, too, because if you still have customers that are, say, in, job search mode, we're going to have to do some, realignment with these customers as we're closing the grants.
I think I have to log out and log back in to get that to be effective. So that's wonderful. That's wonderful news. And as your customers are leaving us for that, we'll also try to make sure that if there's anybody else that has left because of that reason recently, we'll try to get them updated that way as well. Okay, I think...
Dee, could you talk about if they can get them aligned with other, like a WIOA training program, how to exit with that also?
Oh, if we're aligning them with WIOA for the completion information, completed, and then it will be continuing. We're opting for the continuing higher education outside of EPIC. So if they're done with you, but they're going on to a WIOA program where they're going to get some additional training, this is the option that you would be selecting. And then we can complete them, and they'll move to the completion status. Only in this closeout phase, Kelsey. We're not going to be making any other significant updates to EPIC, and so as we're closing down on the end of the grant, those are going to be moving to outside of EPIC, higher education outside of EPIC, and it's only because we may not be able to get somebody into a college or something else. Tammy, how does that count? Does it count as employed?
Not currently, but that's something we can talk about, because one of the things we definitely wanted to highlight is your efforts to keep these people going on a career pathway and a track. And so we want you to try and move these people and align them. If you can get them even into community college and they can get a Pell Grant and continue to move even if it's outside of WIO, as long as there's some sustainability for these people to move on to their career pathway, we want to be able to document that. But you also have to be able to show supporting documentations that they're enrolled, say, in a a community college, and they're going to be, supported through like either a Pell Grant or they're in the EPIC or the WIOA program.
All right. Anything else for the good of the cause? Let me pull down my share screen. And do we need to talk about this GATA, or is that from a couple of webinars ago?
No, I don't think we need to talk about GATA, but I did want to mention one thing. We did have that webinar on the last Wednesday that DHS staff presented on their IES system and how to access that. And I just want to make it clear that's not something that we're wanting or requiring you guys to do. We wanted to bring this information to you guys because it is a resource for you guys. And then if you decide, to down the road continue on with DHS, maybe you end up going into they're working on a SNAP to Success program, or if you're going to be involved with them, in the regular SNAP E&T programs. That's a great resource for you to be able to access IES systems. But it's not something that we're requiring you guys to do. We just wanted to give you the information and the forms. The forms are pretty extensive to fill out, so you need to be able to, complete the information according to what they need to be able to access the system. The other thing that is a kind of always a workaround with that, too, is there's a Manage My Case that the customer can get into. And so a customer, if they're with you, if they can get into their case, they can always go in and give you authorization or print out the information for you. So they can print their information out for you, and you can check their eligibility. But I think it's not as significant now that Deidre's group has access to IES, and they're updating the eligibility on a real-time basis. So that helps. Any questions on that?
I don't see any. Kelsey asked the question about, do we have to confirm that they have an ITA or just confirm that they are WIOA enrolled with the ITA intent? And we have to check, because we have to check to see if we can get that to count for paying out. So
Correct.
There's a whole lot of things that we have to check, Kelsey. So we'll let you guys know as soon as we know distinct answers. Okay. Anybody else? All right. Happy Valentine's Day. Happy Ash Wednesday. And we'll talk to you on the 28th.